In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes from Srila Baladev Vidyabhusha, a great commentator on Bhagavad Gita. The Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yajna Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all the demigods, who serve him as different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord, are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord, who are in Krishna consciousness, offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes. By such action, not only but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. When there's an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Bhagavad Gita, you find a complete program for all aspects of human existence. Krishna speaks spiritually, and Krishna is speaking economically, politically. By approaching Krishna, your life becomes complete because Krishna is the supreme complete, the Om Purna. The world needs to see that bhakti is not some sectarian creation or theological pursuit. Bhakti, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, covers all aspects of the human experience. Nothing is left out. In this verse, Anad Bhavati Bhutani, Krishna is explaining the foundation of a real human economy. That foundation is growing food, and that growth of food depends on rain. And rain depends on execution of yajna. And where there are prescribed duties, where society is divided into various prescribed duties, then it's easy to perform yajna. So we have a different approach here to economic expansion. The approach is based on how to live in harmony with nature and the controllers of nature, while recognizing who is the ultimate controller of even the controllers of nature. In the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavaja. The real business person is one who protects the land and protects the cows. That is the real economics of a human society. This sounds very baffling, and you might think it is overly simplistic. How can the basis of a real economy simply be land and cows? We need to see in action, as well as set the example, how by simply caring for cows and protecting cows, all of human society can be prosperous. This is a prime message of Srila Prabhupada to the world. And in this 50th anniversary year of celebrating Srila Prabhupada's institution, we can meditate upon the gifts of his divine grace. Srila Prabhupada took every word in Bhagavad Gita as relevant, as practical. Not that some things Krishna said apply to what we do today and some things don't apply. No, just as Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita by telling Krishna, Sarvam etad ritam manye yan baham vadasi Keshava. O Keshava, O Krishna, I totally accept everything you said. So just as Arjuna accepted that, in that manner, similarly Srila Prabhupada accepted everything that Krishna says. If Krishna says, Anat bhavati bhutani, all living entities subsist on grains. Grains depend on rain. So, Srila Prabhupada would broadcast it throughout the world. If Krishna says, Krishi Gorakshavanija, Vaishakamasabhavaja, the real business person is one who deals with land protection and cow protection, then Srila Prabhupada would broadcast that all over the world. And he often told us that his only success is simply that he says whatever Krishna says. This may sound simplistic to us, but saying whatever Krishna says means that you are giving people connection to the Supreme Absolute Truth through sound. Krishi Gorakshavanija, land protection, cow protection. This is Krishna Balaram. Balaram is Krishi Raksha. That's why he carries a plow. And Krishna is Goraksha, cow protection. They're doing that to indicate how a real human society is organized. Protect the land, protect the cows. We're not sentimentalists. We understand, because of the Vedas, what is really beneficial for human beings and human society. But it is very difficult for the age of Kali mindset to understand how, by protecting cows, there can be prosperity. From the viewpoint of mundane business, it seems not to add up. Why should you maintain cows after they're no longer giving sufficient milk? In the USA, what's the average time before a cow is considered spent? 5 years? Then it's considered such a business calculation to kill the cow. The cow can still give milk, but because the quantity is no longer maximum, it makes business sense simply to kill the cow. And this is considered civilization. Again and again, Srila Prabhupada would tell us that we don't understand how greatly sinful that activity is and how much havoc will be caused in human society because of the slaughter of cows. You can see in American history, every few decades there's a war, and then afterwards no one can figure out, how did that war happen? It's like war in Vietnam. Well, before that, there was the Korean War in the early 50s. Then after the Korean War, there was the Vietnam War. People today are totally puzzled. How could we ever do that? Now, just a few years after the invasion of Iraq, what were we doing there? Where were the weapons of mass destruction? In the UK, a huge expose just happened last month of how there was no sufficient reason for the British Prime Minister to urge the British to join in the invasion of Iraq. So, people die. For what purpose? But one who understands Krishna's instruction knows that because of the slaughter of cows, human beings must be slaughtered. But until we actually take up the cow protection, it's difficult to understand because the cows are very removed from us. But when we actually engage in carrying out Krishna's instruction, Krishi Goraksha, protect the land, protect the cows, then you see the whole economy, what is intended, how Krishna intended human beings to live. And of course, Vrindavan is the ideal picture, the topmost portion of the spiritual world. There, what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead doing? He's not sitting on an opulent throne with Lakshmi Devi. He is tending the cows in the forest of Vrindavan. We're singing Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kupi Jana Vallabha Kiri Padatai. We're singing that song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which gives us the perfect picture of the spiritual world. And there, everything is land and cow-based. Those devotees who aspire to go beyond Vaikuntha, beyond the opulence of Vaikuntha, to the sweetness of Goloka Vrindavan, they have to appreciate cows because that's what they're going to find. In Krishna Loka, you'll find land and cows. Sometimes this activity of Krishna taking care of the cows even bewilders the greatest demigods. Lord Brahma could not understand. He was watching Krishna and the cowherd boys go into the forest for a picnic. Brahma was watching. And he began to speculate. Brahma is Adi Kavi, the original intellectual of the universe. No one is smarter than Brahma in the material universe. Yet he could not understand. Is this little blue boy my worshipable Lord? Is this little blue boy tending cows? Is that my worshipable Lord? The simplicity of Vrindavan overwhelmed Lord Brahma. He couldn't compute. He couldn't calculate. So he decided, let me make a test. And he thought to interfere with Krishna's pastimes. He thought he was taking away Krishna's cowherd boyfriends and the cows. But he changed his mind a split second later. I should not do this. It will not be a good result. A split second later. Perhaps you have done something, or you started to do something. You take another bite after you're already full. No, I won't. That's how quickly Brahma changed his mind. But that split second of Brahma's time was 1 year of Earth time. So Brahma was bewildered. Can this actually be my worshipable Lord? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Jami. Is this the same? He's herding cows. Even Brahma knows Krishna's name, Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the cows and senses. But seeing it, he couldn't believe it. So he had to be like an empirical research scientist and seek to alter Krishna's pastimes just to make a test. And of course, Krishna bewildered him. Brahma becomes bewildered. How can the highest supreme action of truth be the cowherd boy herding calves? And we also become bewildered. How can human society be prosperous simply by taking care? Like some kind of village folklore from some remote area in India. Simply taking care of cows is economic prosperity. We think that the economic development means the efforts are all up to us and our business acumen and our cheating abilities. Just like on Wall Street, before the global financial crisis hit in 2008, all the Wall Street financial maneuvers, they knew that what they were doing was very shady, not correct. But they had a mantra. They would console each other with the mantra. It wasn't the Maha mantra. Their mantra was IBG, YBG. We're not going to worry about what happens in the future because IBG, I'll be gone, YBG, you'll be gone. So let's make our killing now. Let's make our profit now. One devotee in New York, Rasanath Prabhu. He had graduated from Cornell School of Business and he took a job, a financial job on Wall Street. And around him was all this talk about derivatives, these financial mechanisms. So he asked his chief, because he was trying to understand, these derivatives, these subprimes, it doesn't add up to me. So he asked his chief, what is a derivative? The chief replied, derivative means make your profit and get out before everyone figures out that no one knows what it is. That's derivative. So we accept that kind of economy as real. And what Krishna says, I don't know, sentimental, folklore, something from Indian village. And yet we see that the concocted economy is causing so much distress, but we don't know anything else. And we won't consider what Krishna says. When I'm speaking at universities, I tell the students the facts. 1/3 of all American college graduates will take a job that doesn't require a college degree. 1/3. But they still have to pay back those loans. Just recently, there was a case in New Jersey where a student died tragically. And 1 month later, the parents get a letter from the New Jersey state government. We're very sorry that your son has died so prematurely. But we must inform you that you have to pay his loans. It's true, it was printed in the New York Times. In New Zealand, there are many American overseas students. And often, when I talk to them, they're just crying like, I cannot study what I want to study because it won't bring the income that I need to pay the loans. They all want to study something like environmental science, something to help the world. Environmental science or something to do with health, but they can't. Because they have to think, I have to make the money to pay back the loans. So they're in such distress, I have to study something I don't want to study. So what is so great about this kind of economy that puts such pressure on the young people? They study, and 1/3 of the graduates will not get a job that requires a college degree. And even more, will have to take a job that if it does require a college degree, the job has nothing to do with what they studied. That is the reality. For all the jobs that seem to have some potential for helping society, environmental science, they are the worst jobs in terms of getting employed. Srila Prabhupada's desire was to show the world through his farm projects and their connection to city projects that real prosperity depends on the land, the cows, and Krishna. Otherwise, people think, oh, this Krishna is so sentimental. But is eating sentimental? Is eating healthy food sentimental? Srila Prabhupada's vision was so great. It was beyond us. So many of us were young, so young at the time Srila Prabhupada was physically present. When I first met Srila Prabhupada, I was 22, just turned 22. Basically, at that time, in the Krishna Conscious Society, you could say Prabhupada was the only adult. So he gave such a vision that has taken us 50 years to figure out how far ahead of the times he was. Again and again and again, he would make the challenge. Farm, farm, farm. That's the only thing he said 3 times besides distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. Everything was farm, farm, farm. But we didn't get it 40 years ago. Most of the farms that devotees purchased in the 70s were not very good. The land was very bad. The weather was very bad. But Gita Nagari, that is actually a real farm. Very fertile soil. Very agriculturally productive area. How are we going to show the world that Krishna's recommendations are the only thing that works? People will take it as fanaticism unless we have some example. Krishna says, Krishiko Raksha Bandhija. The real business person deals with land and cows. Unless people see an example of that, they will not take Krishna seriously. Oh, Krishna he's speaking some religious words which have no application to human society today. So Srila Prabhupada was determined to show that everything in Bhagavad Gita is the best. Just as Arjuna replied to Krishna, Sarvameta Vratam Manye, Yatma Padasi Keshava. Oh Krishna, Keshava, I totally accept everything you said. We have an opportunity to be part of this great vision of Sanatana Dharma. This is the only way that human society can be benefited. They have tried everything. They're trying everything. But they've run out of answers. Economically, politically, they've run out of answers. When I'm speaking in India, I point out the facts. I say there are 16,000 nuclear weapons in the world. 94% of them are in the hands of the Americans and Russians. But guess who in 10 years will be the number 3 nuclear power? Pakistan. Now, I explained to the students. I don't know how much you trust the American leaders or the Russian leaders, but who trusts Pakistan? Number 3 nuclear power. And all the Pakistani nuclear weapons are designed for short distance, Mumbai, Delhi only. This is human civilization. And then in the USA, I explained to students at the university, even though it's public knowledge, they don't know. Their minds are so bewildered. There is a 30-year program for upgrading the U.S. nuclear arsenal. This is voted on by the politicians, the ones you elect. 30-year program to make the nuclear arsenal better. At what cost? $1 trillion. You cannot conceive of $1 trillion. Maybe at the most, you can conceive of 100 billion. $1 trillion. This is not human civilization. So Srila Prabhupada always protested against this kind of farce. People are already dying, and you must invent something to make the death more thorough, make the death quicker, destroy the whole earth. We do not consider such a civilization to be human. We consider it to be of the asuras, of the demons. Krishna predicts that in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when he speaks of the divine and demoniac nature. He says, Shayaya Jagato Ita. The demons engage in horrible works meant to destroy the world. It's a symptom of a demoniac person. Now you're having presidential election in the USA. Both candidates have said the use of nuclear weapons is on the table. Both. So you may say, oh, they're just making bravado talk. They'll never do it. Are you sure? Did you know what the world was like 2 years before Srila Prabhupada? 2 years or so before Srila Prabhupada came to the West? There was almost a nuclear annihilation, the Cuban Missile Crisis. There was just one hair's separation from mutual assured destruction. In fact, the information has come out now that the U.S. Air Force bombers have already left their bases in the northern USA and were heading over the Arctic Circle to come down on Russia and drop the nuclear bombs. The pilots were told, say goodbye to your family, but don't tell them. You might not be coming back. They took off, and they were going to go over the Arctic Circle and come over Russia and drop the nuclear bombs. At the last minute, as they were crossing the Arctic Circle, they got the message, turn back, turn back. That's how close. And they knew, of course, if they dropped the bombs on Russia, Russia's going to retaliate. But this is demoniac, no one cares. And one major general, he admitted, one of the ones who was a pilot at the time, piloting one of those bombers with the nuclear bombs. He was asked, how did you feel when you got the turnaround order, when you were above the Arctic Circle and you were told to turn back? He said, it was the most depressing day of my life. Everyone was astounded. They thought he would be, I was so happy. No, he said, it was most depressing. I wanted to do it. This is the mentality that Krishna is talking about in Bhagavad Gita. Shayaya Jagato Hita. And then the people are brainwashed. These nuclear weapons are meant to guarantee freedom, to guarantee prosperity. That's what people think. We have our freedoms because of the nuclear weapons. And meanwhile, they're enslaved, paying for it all. $1 trillion in the next 30 years. That's freedom. So you can see all these things in Bhagavad Gita. When we follow in Prabhupada's footsteps and take everything that Krishna says seriously. Krishna says, Krishi Raksha, Go Raksha. Land protection, cow protection. So, our whole Krishna conscious society is based on Bhagavad Gita, as it is. We want to demonstrate that if we live according to what Krishna says, that is the best life. We cannot come up with any better kind of life. So much money is being wasted in a false, concocted kind of economy. So much money is being wasted for weapons of destruction. My youngest brother, he is general counsel for Toyota Worldwide. And he was telling me some years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Toyota in the US was fined $8 million because of some safety problem. So my brother told me he actually signed the check for $8 million. And he was complaining, these politicians, why are they bothering us about these pennies? Okay, give $8 million, just get them off our backs. Of course, he would say like that. If you look at the balance sheet for just Toyota North America, not Toyota Worldwide, but Toyota North America, in cold cash reserves, $60 billion. The politicians, they're bothering me. I'll give them some pennies. Oh, yeah, $8 million check. Get out of here. This is what's going on. Srila Prabhupada always told us that Krishna is he's not poor. He wrote to Tamal Krishna Maharaj that Krishna can give you the whole USA. He's no poor person, but he's waiting to see for you to become pure. He's waiting to see for the devotees to become pure. We want to be instruments in Krishna's hands, just like Arjuna became. Krishna told Arjuna, victory and defeat is not your concern. You just be an instrument in the fight. Nimitra matram bhavya savyasachi. Oh savyasachi, just be an instrument in the fight. So we want to take what Krishna says and show how it is practical. Everyone takes economics to be so seriously. The most serious subject matter. How is the economy doing? But their version of economy is a complete concoction. The real economy is presented in Bhagavad Gita. The basis is land, cows, yajna, prescribed duties, working in cooperation with the demigods, watering the tree at the root by satisfying Krishna, then automatically all the devas are satisfied. People think that's mythology, but none of them understand what's going on in Wall Street. They don't have the slightest idea. How they're being exploited by those who are very shrewd financially. People don't know. But if you have land and cows, where's the opportunity for mass cheating? The economics become crystal clear and transparent. So yes, we are chanting Hare Krishna. Yes, we are worshiping the deity, but we also want to show how to live the lifestyle the way Krishna wanted. That is an essential part of the Krishna conscious society. And that Krishna conscious society is for the whole world. The sun may rise first in the east, but is the sun the property of the east? No, the sun is for everyone. It shines in everyone's head. Similarly, Krishna has his pastimes in the dhams that seem to be physically located in India, although the dhams are transcendental. They're not part of the material. But Krishna is for everyone. That Krishna is for everyone means his plans, his instructions are for everyone. Then people can see what is Sanatana Dharma, what is the eternal essence, the eternal activity. Prabhupada's vision was that there should be cooperation between the urban temples and the farms in the rural area. If we had followed his instructions properly 40 years ago, we would have been situated so wonderfully now. People could see, oh, you have another alternative to offer for how to live. People are searching for answers now. Is there any other way to live? Is there any other way to have an economy than what we've been doing? So our strength is Bhagavad Gita, demonstrating how Bhagavad Gita contains all aspects of human perfection, economics, politics. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you find Evam Parampara Praptam Emam Rajasya Vidu. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita first to the chief executives because it's their job to protect the citizens. What does protection of the citizens mean? Not simply protecting their health. It would be nice if that would happen. But protection of the citizens from lust, anger, and greed. So that's why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to the chief executives, because they have the responsibility to protect the character of the people, to protect the health of the people. That is real politics. How all living entities can be protected and benefited. So therefore, when we tell people that, according to the Vedic conception, every creature within the governmental territory is a citizen, they're astonished. What do you mean? You issue passports for all the creatures, all the animals? No, it means all the creatures are entitled to governmental protection. A couple of months ago in Florida, there was a big public outcry that spread over the whole country. One young man, 21 years old or so, had a dog, and the young man was on a balcony, maybe 10 feet above the ground, a balcony for his apartment, and he was holding the dog by the neck over the balcony. And the neighbors were outraged. They called the police, and the police executed a total manhunt in the neighborhood to find the person. Police cars, motorcycles, scoured the whole neighborhood. Where is this person who was seen holding a dog over the balcony ring? There was a video clip taken of it, and it went viral all over the USA. Man tortures dog, holding him over a balcony. Yet every day they're slaughtering millions of cows. No one says anything. This is madness. They finally caught the man after an intense manhunt through the whole neighborhood and charged him with cruelty to animals. This makes no sense. This is no intelligence. So let us understand the depths of Bhagavad Gita, how developing our bhakti includes all aspects of life, our health, our economics, our politics. Krishna makes politics in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna wants his people in and Duryodhana's people out. Simply, Krishna doesn't call an election. Duryodhana's party, they were materially competent, you know. They were expert administrators. And it wasn't that they were simply greedy. They were greedy, but they were also thinking, like Kshatriyas. We can take care of the people better than the Pandavas. So at least Duryodhana's party had that motivation, amongst other lower motivations, but they had the motivation. We'll care for the people better. And they were expert administrators, but there was only one problem Duryodhana's group had. What was that problem? They're anti-Krishna. So Krishna said, okay, I want you guys out of power. I want my men in. So some people are bewildered. Why is this? Krishna's making politics. But if he's the source of all energies, why can't he make politics? The Bhagavad Gita covers everything. Politics, economics. Is all part of bhakti yoga. But it's not fanatical. It is not sectarian. Krishna explains everything comprehensively. If we execute what Krishna says, that is success. So we want people to see how all of human society can become prosperous simply by taking care of the cows. That is the basis of a real economy. Then we can also start to understand Goloka Vrindavan, where there are simply the cows, the Jamuna River, the forests of Vrindavan, the pasturing grounds, the villages. That's all there is to the topmost portion of the spiritual world. Lord Chaitanya is directing us toward Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to direct us past Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan. If Goloka Vrindavan is our goal, then we need to learn how to appreciate cows. So, from both the economic point of view, on the everyday level, to the most esoteric, sublime, spiritual level of the topmost portion of the spiritual world, cows are essential. Therefore, Krishna is known as Govinda and Gopal. In this 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's society, let us remember his vision for making the whole world Krishna conscious. That vision is based on Bhagavad Gita and covers every aspect of human existence. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Very nice building, my first time here. I thought we were going to start at 4, so I timed myself in that way, so I have to leave now. But very nice building. Congratulations. My first time.